Yeah, right on time. Don't move, don't scroll, because what I'm about to show you, you've felt it before, but you were never supposed to understand it. Wait, the way they mock you? That's not hate. No, no, no. That would be too simple, too clean, too honest. What you're looking at is envy having a panic attack. And panic, oh, panic is messy. It shakes voices, it twists words, it turns grown people into actors in a play they don't even control anymore. You thought they were laughing at you? Look closer. That laugh, it's offbeat, forced, a little too loud, like someone trying to drown out a thought they're terrified to hear. Because the moment you walked into their awareness, something inside them cracked. Not because you attacked them, not because you threatened them, but because you reflected something back at them they've been avoiding their entire life. You, unfiltered, unapologetic, unpredictable. You see, most people survive by staying predictable, safe, measurable, contained. But you don't follow their script. You don't react the way they calculated. You don't break where they expected fractures. And that terrifies them. Because now they can't place you. And when the human mind can't categorize something, it panics. So what do? They mock, they laugh, they exaggerate, they distort your image into something easier to digest. But here's the part they'll never admit. Every insult they throw at you, it's a confession. Every joke, a coded message. Every "you're weird," "you're too much," "you're not normal." That's not criticism. That's envy screaming through a disguise. Because you are everything they don't have the courage to become. And that realization, it burns. So they do what scared minds always do. They try to shrink you so they can feel bigger. But you felt it, didn't you? That strange contradiction, the way they disrespect you publicly, but watch you privately, the way they dismiss you, but remember every detail about you, the way they don't care, but react emotionally every time your name enters the room. That's not hate. Hate is cold. This is unstable. This is emotional. This is obsession fighting for control. You are not dealing with enemies. You are dealing with people whose reality gets disrupted by your existence. And that's where it gets dangerous. Because now, you become unpredictable to them. And unpredictability, that's power. You see, a saint is loved because he follows rules. A psychopath is feared because he breaks them. But you exist in between. You smile like you understand peace. But your silence feels like you've survived war. You show restraint. But something about you whispers you could dismantle everything if you wanted to. That duality, it confuses them. Because they don't know which version of you is real. So they test you with jokes, with disrespect, with whispers behind your back. Not to destroy you, but to figure you out. And every time you don't react the way they predicted, you make it worse. You deepen the mystery. You widen the gap between who they are and who you've become. And now their envy isn't just quiet discomfort. It's spiraling. It's panicking. Because they're starting to realize something they can't unsee. You didn't become this way by accident. You were built through isolation, through betrayal, through moments where nobody clapped, nobody supported, nobody stayed. While they were busy performing for approval, you were evolving in silence. And pain didn't break you. It refined you, sharpened you, turned you into something they can't replicate. Because they avoided the very process that created you. So now when they look at you, They don't just see a person, they see a question, a threat, a possibility, and it terrifies them. Because if you exist, that means they had the potential to become something more too. And they didn't. So they laugh, they mock, they gossip, not because you're small, but because you remind them how small they chose to stay. And here's the part that changes everything. You don't correct them. You don't defend yourself. You don't explain who you are. Because the moment you start explaining, you shrink back into something understandable. And you are not meant to be understood. You are meant to be felt. Like tension in a room, like a shift in energy, like something people can't name, but can't ignore. So let them laugh, let them talk, let them build entire conversations around your existence. Because every second they spend trying to define you is proof that you've already escaped definition. And that's what breaks them. Not your success, not your image, but your freedom. Freedom from needing approval, freedom from fitting in, freedom from reacting. You became something they can't control, and nothing terrifies the human mind more than what it can't control. So no, they're not laughing at you, they're unraveling right in front of you. And the more you rise, the louder their panic will sound like jokes. The sharper their envy will disguise itself as criticism. But now you see it. Now you understand the language behind the noise. So the next time they mock you, don't flinch, don't react. Just observe. Because what you're witnessing is not hate. It's envy, losing control. And now that you see it, you can't unsee it. That's the curse and the power. Because from this moment on, every laugh will sound different. Every joke will echo with something underneath it. Something desperate, something cracking. You'll start noticing the micro pauses, the way their eyes scan you a little too carefully, the way their tone shifts when you don't react. And that's when it hits you. You were never the one being judged. You were the one being measured, compared, studied, quietly analyzed in rooms you've never even stepped into. Your presence became a benchmark, and they hate that. Because you didn't ask for that role. You didn't campaign for attention. You didn't beg to be seen. You just became, while they were still trying to be accepted. And that difference, that invisible gap between you and them, it keeps growing. Not because you're trying to outshine them, but because you stopped trying to fit inside spaces that were never built for you. That's what evolution looks like. It's not loud. It's not always glamorous. Sometimes it's lonely. Sometimes it feels like you're being misunderstood on purpose. But what they call weird is just you refusing to shrink. What they call too much is just them realizing they are not enough for their own potential. And that realization, it's suffocating. So they cope the only way they know how. They create a version of you they can laugh at, a caricature, an exaggeration, a safe, distorted version that doesn't threaten them. But here's the paradox. The more they distort you, the more they reveal how much space you take up in their mind. You become louder in their silence, stronger in their denial, more real. The more they try to make you look fake. That's the irony. You don't even have to speak, and yet you're the loudest presence in their world. Now listen carefully. This is where most people make a mistake. They try to prove themselves. They try to correct the narrative. They try to win people over. Don't. Because the moment you chase validation, you step down from power into permission. And you don't ask for permission anymore. You moved past that. Remember who you are. You are not just the calm version of yourself they see. You are also the chaos you've survived. You are the silence that learned to speak without words, the patience that learned to wait without losing focus, the darkness that didn't consume you, but instead taught you how to see in it. You are both the angel that holds back and the demon that knows exactly how far things can go. And that balance, that restraint, that controlled unpredictability, that's what keeps them on edge. Because they don't know your limits, and people fear what they can't predict. So they poke, they test, they mock, not realizing they're not triggering weakness, they're confirming presence. They're proving to themselves that you exist on a level they can't reach yet. And every time you don't react, you win again, silently, brutally, completely, because you're no longer playing their game. You've become the environment they're trying to survive in. Let that sink in. You are no longer competing. You are conditioning the space around you. And that's why they panic. That's why their hate sounds emotional. That's why their energy feels unstable. Because deep down, they're not trying to destroy you. They're trying to stabilize themselves in a reality where you exist. But they can't, because you keep evolving. And evolution, it doesn't ask for approval. It doesn't slow down for comfort. It doesn't explain itself to those who refused to grow. It just becomes. So let them talk, let them laugh, let them build entire stories around a version of you that doesn't even exist. Because while they're busy reacting to illusions, you're becoming something real, something untouchable, something they'll never fully understand, but will never be able to ignore. And one day, the noise will stop. Not because they accepted you, but because they realized nothing they say, nothing they do, can change what you've already become. And that's the moment it all goes quiet. No more jokes, no more whispers, no more forced laughter, just silence. Heavy, uncomfortable, undeniable silence. The kind that only shows up when envy finally runs out of excuses and is forced to face the truth. You were never the problem, you were the mirror, and they just weren't ready to see themselves.